Hare Krishna. I'm very happy to be in Ottawa to be with you, and I will do my best to serve you to the best of my capabilities. Please bless me that I can do my service nicely.
Krishna, I have no blessings, but by Prabhupada's mercy, I'm sure it will be wonderful. Hare Krishna.
Do we start with Radha Madhav or we go straight
You
in?
can start with Jai Radhamadhava, or you can start with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya and whatever prayers you chant before speaking.
Okay, thank you.
But no one can respond, so keep that in mind.
Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Kevaradari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Kevaradari Yasodanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat Nastavesya Bhatresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. This morning we will read from the Srimad Bhagavatam 4th canto, Chapter 24, Chanting the Song Sung by Lord Shiva, text 72. I recite the Sanskrit first. Idam mahapurasmakam Bhagavan Vishvarikpatihi Brihvadinam atmajanam Shishriksu samsirikshatam Idam mahapurasmakam Bhagavan Vishvarikpatihi Brihvadinam atmajanam Shishriksu samsirikshatam Idam mahapurasmakam Bhagavan Vishvarikpatihi Brihvadinam atmajanam Shishriksu samsirikshatam. Word for word translation and translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Idam, this, aha, said, pura, formerly, asmakam, unto us, Bhagavan, the Lord, Vishvashrik, the creators of the universe, Patihi, Master, Briho Adinam, of the great sages headed by Briho, Atmajanam, of his sons, Shishriksu, desirous of creating, Samsiriksatam, who are in charge of creation. Another translation. This prayer was first spoken to us by Lord Brahma, the master of all creators. The creators headed by Brihu were instructed in these prayers, because they wanted to create. Purport. Lord Brahma was created by Lord Vishnu, and then Lord Brahma created Lord Shiva and other great sages headed by Bhrigu Muni. These great sages included Bhrigu, Marichi, Atreya, Vashishta, and others. All these great sages were in charge of creating population. Since there were not many living entities in the beginning, Vishnu entrusted Brahma with the business of creation. And Brahma in turn created many hundreds and thousands of demigods and great sages to continue with the creation. At the same time, Lord Brahma cautioned all his sons and disciples by reciting the prayers now recited by Lord Shiva. The material creation means material engagement, but material engagements can be counteracted if we always remember our relationship with the Lord, as that relationship is described in these prayers recited by Lord Shiva. In this way, we can remain constantly in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, despite our engagement in the creation, we cannot be deviated from the path of Krishna consciousness. The Krishna consciousness movement is especially meant for this purpose. In the material world, everyone is engaged in some particular occupational duty which is prescribed in the Varnashram Dharma. Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras, and everyone are engaged in their occupational duty, but if one remembers his first duty, keeping in constant contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everything will be successful. If one simply executes the rules and regulations of the Varnashram Dharma in the role of a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Sudra, and keeps busy and does not remember one's eternal relationship with the Lord, one's business and activities as well as occupational duties, will simply be a waste of time. This is confirmed in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 128. Dharma svanustita pumsam vivakshana katha suya not padayat yati ratim shama eva ekrevalam. The conclusion is that even if one is busy executing his occupational duty, his business in Krishna consciousness need not to be hampered. He has simply to execute the devotional service of Shravanam Kirtanam, Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23, hearing, chanting and remembering. One need not abandon his occupational duty, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 1846. Yata pravittir bhutanam yena sarmanidam tatam svakarmana tam apyarsaya siddhim vindati manavam. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings, and who is all-pervading, man can, in the performance of his own duty, attain perfection. Thus one can continue with his occupational duty, but if he worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as Lord Shiva herein prescribes, he attains his perfection of life. Svanustitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. 1-13 Srimad Bhagavatam. We should continue executing our occupational duties. But if we try to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by our duties, then our lives will be perfected. So I recite the verse once again. Idam maha purasmakam bhagavam vishvavikpati prihvadinam atma janam sisrikshu samsiriksatam. This prayer was first spoken to us by Lord Brahma, the master of all creators. The creators, headed by Brihu, were instructed in these prayers because they wanted to create. Om Ajnana Timrandasya Jananjana Shanakayam Shakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namah Sichitayamanobhistam Staptam Yena Bhutale Svam Rapakadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiru Shiyuda Padakamalam Shirum Vaishnavamsha Shirupam Jagajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sativam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parjana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shivishakam Vitamsa He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jatpate Gopesha Gopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhana Sutadevi Pranamama Haripriya Vancha Kalptabhisha Kripa Sinavivasha Patanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnabhyo Namo Nama Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namini. Namaste Saraswata Devi, Gauravanya Pacharini, Nirvishesha Sunyavadi, Paskachai Desatarani. Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Yay.
So, this verse, it stresses the importance of Vandana prayer to stay in contact with Krishna. That I remember when Kadambakana Maharaj spoke to the sannyas candidates about the meaning of sannyas life. He said that sannyas means constantly living in a relationship with Krishna. And that is Krishna consciousness, constantly living in a relationship with Krishna. And this vandana, these prayers, are one way to stay in touch with Krishna. In this verse, Lord Shiva continues his instructions to the Prachetas. This prayer was formerly spoken by Brahma before the creation. So that is culture. Before engaging in activities, we take blessings of superiors. We have seen in the beginning, the first day of the Battle of Kurukshetra, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, both parties, the Pandavas, the Kurus, they were facing each other. And the Pandavas went to the other side, and Yudhishthira Arjuna touched the feet of Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya and asked them for blessings, please. Bless us that we can conquer you. That's very interesting. Even in this extraordinary situation of a war, they are taking blessings. But a Vaishnava, a devotee, is never independent by nature. That the more one is realized, the more one is realizing that one is depending on the mercy of the Lord. So if we don't have that feeling of dependence of the Lord and we feel independent, We are just fools. That I remember Burjan Prabhu. I had a lot of association with him during the Bhaktivedanta course in Vrindavan. And someone asked Burjan Prabhu, "Are you self-realized?" And Burjan Prabhu replied, "Yes, I'm self-realized. I realized I'm a complete fool." So that is a sign of self-realization, that yes, we depend on the mercy of the devotees. Especially we should take blessings of the Vaishnavas superior to us. That when we get the devotees' mercy, Krishna's mercy follows. That so in our lives, mainly devotees many times want to take a shortcut for going back to Godhead. But what is that shortcut? That shortcut is pleasing the devotees. We have in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, that he was already in his 90s and old, and he was asked to compile the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but he felt unqualified to do it, and he asked for the blessings of all the Vaishnavas. He went even before Shri Radha Madan Man to get their blessings. That so Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he explains in Chaitanya Tamrita that what he wrote is not his work. It's based on all the material supplied to him by Raghunadas Goswami. Because Raghunadas Goswami was put under the care of Svarup Damodar, Svarup Damodar Goswami, and he got all information from him. And because he got also the notes of Murari Gupta to write Chaitanya Charitamrita, but he felt himself unqualified to do this task. And he expressed such a humility so that for someone in the present age it looks very strange. Because these are his genuine feelings of the heart. This humility is a sign of spiritual advancement. Krishnadas Kaviraj said, "I'm so fallen. Now, if someone mentions my name, he will lose all pious credits." He said, "I'm like a worm in stool, just trying to get sense gratification." He said, "My back is bent, my hands are trembling due to old age. How can I write this book?" But because he was instructed to do this, he approached many Vaishnavas. He also approached Lokanath Goswami. And Lokanath Goswami said, "I will give you my blessings, but there is one condition. You should not mention my name in your book." And the name of Lokanath Goswami is not in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Very interesting. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, with a heavy heart, reluctantly, he accepted that. So Krishnadas Kavraj Goswami began writing Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it is such a phenomenal work. It's a miracle how he wrote this, that in India it is a culture that the children touch the feet of the parents before they go out to school or work. That this respect is a very important part of the Vedic culture. Of course, in India that's also quickly disappearing, but yeah. So before we begin activities, it's important to get the blessings of the devotees. And that we see that here in the story of Brahma itself. There is in previous cantos, there is a chapter, the prayers of Lord Brahma for creative powers. And Lord Brahma prays for empowerment, for protection against Maya. So this is narrated in the second and third canto of the Bhagavatam. When Brahma, in the beginning there is darkness, and he had no idea how to start the creation. That he did not even know who he was. He moved to the stem of the lotus, but he could not find an answer. And in that bewildered state he heard these two syllables, ta-pa. Perform austerity. So Brahma was instructed by the Lord to perform tapa, and he did austerities for 1,000 celestial years. And then the Lord personally appeared before him and shook hands with Brahma. So Brahma was then given proper instructions by the Lord in the form of the Chatur-shloka Bhagavatam. And these verses, 4 verses, are the essence of the Bhagavatam. And the entire Bhagavatam developed around these 4 verses. Of course, in Bhagavad Gita we have also 4 essential verses. So then Brahma was blessed by the Lord, and he started his task of creation. Brahma prayed, I'm unqualified, that I've been put in such a high position in the universe. So he prayed, you kindly give me all knowledge, but please bless me that I will not become proud. And that was the first request. Empowerment, protection against Maya, and protection of becoming proud. Brahma is teaching us the appropriate position of a devotee, a Vaishnava. Nirmita matram. We are only instruments in the hand of the Lord. If we come to that realization, then we can serve nicely. Then, if we become proud, then automatically we commit Vaishnava aparad. That's just the result. If I think myself better than others, then we disrespect. And Krishna, he redraws his mercy. That we can do things simply when we have received a drop of mercy. If we remain humble, then we can get unlimited mercy. So everyone is my Prabhu and I'm Das. Prabhu means master. We must actually treat him as master. then not that we order Prabhu to serve me. When everyone sees himself as a servant of others, then we live in a wonderful world. The highest in the material world is the lowest in the spiritual world, and vice versa. So we are the servants of the servant of the servant, a chain of servants. The more servants, the more glorious. So also King Kulak Sekar, he prays in his Mukunda Stotra. He says, "Let me be the servant of the servant of the servant 7 times," he said. Yeah. Everyone in this world is actually a servant, but we live in a dream world to be the master. You get more happiness in serving someone than to receiving service. It's in Prabhupada Lilamrita, when Prabhupada was back to India with his disciples. One of his godbrothers was cooking for the disciples of Prabhupada. He was cooking and he was serving, and Prabhupada said, "Look, he gets more happiness from serving than from eating." The parents become happy when they serve their children. When one comes to the temple and cleans the toilet, one feels happiness. Service is the actual position of the soul. In the spiritual world, there is transcendental competition to be the most humble servant. Of course, we should not meditate that not imitate that in the material world. Like some devotees said to Prabhupada, "I'm the most fallen." And Prabhupada said, "You are not the most of anything." Because, yes, we cannot imitate that. That must be general feeling. Another time, another devotee said the same thing. "Prabhupada, I'm the most fallen." And then Prabhupada replied, "Yes, and what are you going to do about it?" That's also an important question. But service is the actual position of the soul. Everyone in the material world wants to become number one. I think it was, I'm not sure, I think it was Tamal Krishna Goswami in Japan or something. He met a businessman and he asked the businessman, what's your goal of life? And he showed them a stack of business cards.
Prabhupada asked that question.
Prabhupada asked that question. And the man showed his business card, and he took his own business card was at the bottom, and he put it on top. so that was that was his purpose of life, to become the number one. We want to move up and crush others. In the spiritual world, everyone is trying to become lower and push everyone higher. This principle we should try to apply in our Vaishnava communities. This is the nectar for which we are hankering. If we follow these principles, we will achieve this. In this verse, Brahma instructs the first created beings before they engaging in their task that this like this instructions, yeah, Brahma instructs them how to create, how to become empowered. That how do we become empowered? Brahma creates for empowerment, protection against Maya, and protection against becoming proud. Pride is very, very dangerous. But interesting is that the Lord replied that yes, all what you are prayed for is granted. As long as you are engaged in your devotional service of creation, you will always be protected by Maya, as long as we are absorbed in our devotional service. And as long as we are absorbed in devotional service, Krishna will empower us as he desires. I remember always this is 1998 or 99. At that time I was part of the Radhadish community in Belgium. I'm still in some sense part of it because it's my home base. But one day, every month we had a meeting with all those who were Brahman initiated. And we had a meeting, our monthly meeting, and we were considering we had a castle and we had no guest house. And we needed a guest house for Prabhupada's mission to invite so many guests. We had a few rooms in the castle, but it was not far from sufficient. And we decided to build a big guest house. We had only debts, really no resources, just debts. But we decided to build a guest house. And then everyone started to work on it. We formed a committee, a few devotees were into fundraising. Other devotees consulted with an architect and made plans for the construction. Other devotees contacted devotee workers from Poland. And wonder by wonder, the manpower came, and the resources came, the finances came, the donations came, everything came, and we got a loan, and 4 years later there was a big guest house. So that means that what was our motivation? The motivation was not for ourselves, was for Prabhupada's mission only, to facilitate the mission. And if we take shelter of the Lord and depend on Him and start to act for His pleasure, just starting to act, then Lakshmi follows, everything follows. Purity is the force. And I remember that always, that Radha was before in a hopeless financial position, and still we made it. This is important, that we act with humility, blessings, and have the right motivation. This pure motivation, this purity in the motivation comes by hearing, that the purity in motivation comes by association with those who are pure in heart and have this pure motivation. We may not be pure in heart yet, but our acting may be pure in motivation. And that is most important. If we are pure in our motivation, only to please Krishna, then the mercy of the Lord follows. And that we see also here that the importance of these prayers, Vandanam. And in Nectar of Devotion we find an entire section addressing and speaking about the importance of Vandanam prayers, and the Bhagavatam is full of prayers. Prayers of Queen Kunti, prayers of Akrura, here the prayers of the Prashetas, so this praying is very important. Many times I ask the question that from householders, they are working during the day. How can I remember How can I remember the Lord? How can I remember Krishna during the day, during my work? We have so many challenges. Also in our work, take shelter of Krishna, pray to Krishna. That of course there are two sides. We pray to Krishna, help us, but we have also to promise Krishna that you use everything in his service at the same time. These two are going together. But we have so many challenges, and that brings us in a helpless condition. If we are not in a helpless condition, then we are in the illusory energy. We are in the dream. I heard Prabhupada recently saying in a lecture, a recorded lecture, where he said, we are sleeping at night and we are dreaming. But then we wake up and we come in the daydream, thinking we are the controllers. It's also a dream. By that praying, you come out of the dream. That by feeling helpless, feeling unqualified, because all our qualifications come from Krishna. They are not ours. Krishna gives our qualities, our talents, and so on. But it's not ours. It's given by him. And if we think it's ours, then we become proud, and we offend. We offend also Krishna, because he's doing really. We are taking the credit for what he is doing. We can only be the instrument. Pragatikayamani guna karmana sautankara vimutadmakartamiti manyate. Then we are just fools, thinking ourselves the doer of everything. So if we see that reality, we become humble and we pray to Krishna. And if we don't do that, then it means we are in the daydream. We think ourselves the controller. I will do it on my own strength, but it's not your strength. That we learned from Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj, his father asked, but where do you get the strength to conquer me? What's the source of your strength? That gives you the strength to disobey my orders. Hiranyakashipu said, even when I just move my eyebrows, the demigods, they tremble. And you are just disobey my orders? That where do you get this strength? And Paramatma's reply to my father, best of the demons, he said, best of the demons, that the source of your strength is the same as the source of my strength. It comes all from the Supreme Lord. So that is important. Without the sanction of the Lord, we can do nothing. And that is the lesson here in this verse, that Lord Brahma could not create unless he was empowered by the Lord. And all these Prajapatis, this great sons of Brahma, they are also praying for empowerment, for protection, and that is also advised for all of us. Every moment praying to the Lord. And that brings us in touch, in transcendental touch with the Lord. Is in the core of our heart, is always with us. Always we can pray to the Lord and taking shelter. We don't know what will happen the next moment. And this dependence is our fortune. If we seek only sense gratification in this world, enjoying this body, we are in this daydream. We have to come out of this daydream and come to the point of connecting always with the Supreme Lord. And that is the source of eternal bliss. And this is what King Rishabhadev also teaches his sons. Neam deo dea bhajamni lokeka stam kaman arate vidbhujamye. Tapodivam putkayena sattvam sudye yasma brahmasakyam anantam. So he says that all living entities have accepted material bodies, that most of them, they work hard simply for sense gratification, which is available for dogs and hogs. But one should engage in penance and austerity to attain the position of devotional service, because by that position we attain eternal blissful life, transcendental happiness, which continues forever. So we should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position. And part of this austerities or this penance and austerity, the real penance and austerity is the practice of devotional service. And Vandanam is very important in that aspect. Praying for mercy and praying for empowerment, for protection, and that will make our life successful. Any questions or comments, please?
There seems to be some conflict in the thoughts of devotees when ascertaining where one takes one's own initiative and tries to make something happen, and on the other side, depending on Krishna's mercy, devotees are enthusiastic. They want to do things. They have lots of ideas. They want to do lots of different things, and somewhere in the consciousness is the idea that it's all for Krishna. But there seems to be some lack of clarity in understanding how to ascertain what's really for Krishna's service and what's for something else. There's a lot of varieties of different motivations, but the motivation may be not exactly for Krishna. So how do we, because our spiritual masters may not be available to us to ask. It may be unclear to us what is Krishna's desire and what is my desire. So how do we figure that out?
Yeah, and that's a very good question. There are two aspects here, and you mentioned them. What is my desire? What is Krishna's desire? The process of devotional service, especially in the beginning, when we have many desires, is to learn how to dovetail our desires with Krishna's desire, connect them. And for that, it's good to have the guidance of a spiritual master, because that is one of the roles of a spiritual master, to help you to engage your nature, to engage you according to your nature in Krishna's service. Not only the spiritual master, or also the temple authorities and so on, they have that duty. And because it's in Bhagavad Gita, it's explained, it's essential. Krishna mentioned this twice in Bhagavad Gita. You should engage yourself in your own occupational duty and not trying to do the occupational duty of others. He mentioned it twice, so it's important. When a devotee came to Prabhupada and said to Prabhupada, I want to serve you, ask me anything and I will do it. And Prabhupada said, yes, that what do you want to do for Krishna? He asked. And the devotee said, Prabhupada, it doesn't matter. Just ask me something, I will do it. And then Prabhupada became more grave. He said, try to understand our philosophy. What do you want to do for Krishna? And then the devotee said, Prabhupada, I want to make unbreakable mridangas. And Prabhupada said, yes, do that for Krishna. And he made his first fiberglass mridangas, which we were using in our movement. That shows that we have two svadharmas, material svadharma and spiritual svadharma. Our spiritual svadharma is we are eternal servants of Krishna, or eternal servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. That's our spiritual position. Our material position is that we have likes and dislikes in this world. And mostly what we like and what we are good in, that's our nature. So the first step is to understand what's our material nature, what we are good in. The second step is, how can I use that in Krishna's service? And that requires cooperation with the devotees, consultation with the devotees. And then you can use your talent in the service of Krishna. And we have seen in our movement great artists that I remember before I met the devotees, because that was at the end of the 70s, 1970s, I was quite kind of hippie. I had my hair was still here. And I had a friend who was an artist, and we were in Antwerp, in the center of Antwerp in Belgium, at the Keizerlei. It's a shopping street in the center, and there for the first time I saw a devotee distributing magazines. He was in white and dressed in white and dressed in bed sheets. I was thinking. So I asked my friend, who are these? And he knew it. He was an artist. He said, these are the Hare Krishnas. You should buy a magazine from him, he said, because their magazines are full of beautiful art. And I bought a magazine of him. And that was my first contact with the Hare Krishna movement. To see, and the magazine I bought from him was called Back to Godhead, but it was a translation in Dutch. The only Back to Godhead that ever was published in Dutch. It was beautiful. At the inside there was Jyotirmayi in New Mayapur, surrounded by all the gurukuls. It's a beautiful, really beautiful. And we have so big artists in our movement, and they use their talents, because these talents are given by Krishna. But Krishna gives us these talents to be used in his service, not to serve in sense, not to use in sense gratification. And when it's properly used, then it becomes a source of inner happiness and bliss, and we make spiritual advancement. And it's normal. We have to go that way, because Krishna says, Shadur Vijab Jantimam Yechana Sukritarina Artha Shikhnasha Artharti Janisa Paratarshava. 4 kinds of people with material desires approach him. One who is distressed, one who is curious, one who wants wealth, one who wants to know the absolute truth. So we are all impure. We are all in some of these categories when we come. But our tendencies, when we use them in Krishna's service, it becomes a source of bliss. If we use these talents in material things, we are getting deeper in the daydream, and it entangles us more and more. It's a cause of suffering, finally. Therefore, in this verse, in this purport, it said, we should do our occupational duties, but the purpose is Haritoshanam, pleasing the Supreme Lord, and that should always be there, because then we connect our activities with Krishna. We learn in this verse, we connect with Krishna by prayer. We connect with Krishna by using our talents in his service. That I agree with you that sometimes it's difficult to understand how we can use our talents in the service of Krishna, and it requires some determination, some discrimination. But sometimes it's also very clear. It depends. If it's not clear, then we wait. Everyone has some good qualities, material qualities that can be used in Krishna's service, for sure. Does that help?
Yeah, it definitely helps. I think, the key is at the end what you said, that sometimes it's difficult. I know I'm not talking about myself, but someone may think I know what my propensities are. And then when I try to use my propensities in Krishna's service, there's so many options. And some of them are pretty obviously in Krishna's service, and some of them, although they could be used in Krishna's service, they also bring me into maybe somewhat dangerous contact with the opportunity to not be engaged in Krishna's service. You use propensity in a dubious way, and then, and it seems like in this day and age, the the opportunity to get involved in with things that make it difficult to remain fixed in Krishna service are innumerable. You know, like just looking at AI, for example. You know, you can do a lot of things with AI that are valuable in Krishna service, and you can also get lost in this whirlpool of garbage
Yeah, yeah.
that seems to be endlessly mutable. And especially when it comes to making a living or making money, it's really easy to go down the rabbit hole if you're, you know, you're thinking you're making money for Krishna, but making money puts you in a position where you want to spend money, and then when you want to spend money, then it becomes more and more difficult to draw the line, what's for Krishna, what's for not. And I hear it again and again, that's why I asked, because, you know, lots of people have desires to do things, and maybe that's not what needs to be done at the moment. Something else may need to be done at the moment. And yeah, so it gets to be a little bit of a conflict. You know, Arjuna was a conflict.
Good, thank you. Someone else have any question?
I saw ISKCON Ottawa there. Hemanga has his hand up.
Yeah, Hemanga Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, welcome back to Ottawa. Nice to have you. So you mentioned about devotees who see others as masters and himself as servant. So is this still possible for someone who is at a neophyte or even in the Madhyamadikari to see the same, like others as the masters and himself as servant?
That, yeah, of course, this awareness is something that grows, that we can hear that we are the servant of the devotees, but the next moment we become again the servants of our senses and so on. That so it's a question of purification and cultivating the right motivation. If we hear the philosophy, we start to understand that everyone is serving. But that service, that propensity to serve, is misdirected in this world, and we must redirect it toward the source of everything, Krishna, and that redirecting requires hearing daily the Bhagavatam, because the why we cannot practice it wholeheartedly is that our heart is covered with lust. Avitam jnanam etana jnanina nitya varna. Lust, Krishna says, covered our eternal intelligence. Our eternal intelligence, our spiritual intelligence is covered. It requires spiritual intelligence to deeply understand that we are a part and parcel of Krishna, and therefore a servant of Krishna and his devotees. And that, but it requires hearing that otherwise we can try to take an humble position, and we should try to take, but it may be not 100% sincere, because all the material desires is in our heart, because the material desires mean I'm the master, I'm going to conquer. That as long as this material desires in our heart, then this desire to serve is hampered by that purity. But if we can connect with if we connect daily by just hearing from Prabhupada, hearing the Bhagavatam class, we start to hear about the importance for spiritual advancement, to become humble. And we see all the examples of humility. In this world we see the opposite, and that's the problem. Did you ever heard a politician saying, don't vote for me, the other is much better, I'm so fallen that no, you will not find that it's just not of this world, but this is the spiritual world, and the servant and the position of servant in the spiritual world is the highest. Here it's considered the lowest. But we can create our own Vaikuntha atmosphere, Prabhupada. So it's just by developing this service attitude. And if you have this service attitude and always remains humble, you will see all your relationships will improve. That you will develop wonderful relationships. If the relationships are going wrong, analyze, and you will see that there is something that a strong desire that is blocking that material desires to get honor, to get for one wants recognition, one wants profit, and when that is hampered, the relationship is broken. These are material relationships, but there's no influence on spiritual relationships. The first time I met devotees in Antwerp, I met a devotee. I never met devotees before because I was reading the Bhagavatam, and I wanted to meet the devotees. So I went, I was a chartered accountant. It was so much later, my hair was already short. and I had a confection suit with a tie, and I went to the temple, and I met for the first time a devotee, and the first thing I remarked was this person was interested in what I had to say, he was listening. Something very rare in this world, someone who takes time to listen to you. And then he was offering me sweets, very sweet. If one offers you food with love, you think this person loves me. But then I was thinking, because my heart was impure, they are so nice with me, but what do they want from me? And that's material relationship. Yeah. You give to me, I take from you. But spiritual relationship means only giving. And that was my first experience with the devotees, as their character is so beautiful, because they have this service attitude. Does that help, Amangapo?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you.
Good.
Maharaj, it's time for us to end now.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll see you again tomorrow. Yeah?
Yeah, Krishna willing.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glory to Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Franka Kalptavishaki Pasnivesha Padmanvyo Vaishnavyo. Have a nice day. Hare Krishna.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava in the key.
Jai.